Alrighty, guys, I'm now 16-1 on my last 17 crowd pleaser teasers on my website. And if you want to see a full video breakdown of every single one of my personal sports bets here today, all the games that I have my own personal action on, the only way to do that is to become a board member on patreon.com/BrockPage. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my Major League Baseball free pick video here today for Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. Happy Tuesday to you. Hopefully you got your week off started good. My name is Brock Page, and I've been dishing out free sports picks right here on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. Once again, guys, I'm 16-1 on my last 17 crowd pleaser teasers on that site. And if you want to see a video breakdown of every single one of my personal plays here today, the only way to do that is to become a board member on that site. Not only do board members get access to the board member podcast every single day, you also get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. If you sign up for a membership here today, the math works out to be just $1.66 a day for the next 30 days. That's cheaper than your daily cup of coffee. Now, I currently have over 540 members who are signed up and active on my website right now. And you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side, and total. And what I do on patreon.com/BrockPage is I actually share with you which one of these free plays on these videos that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start off with the Yankees at the Guardians, 6:10 Eastern first pitch. The New York Yankees are -175, totals 8 runs. Garrett Cole for New York, Hunter Gaddis for Cleveland. Now, Gaddis has yet to record a win in 2 starts this year. He's also walked 3 batters and hit 1 during those outings. When it comes to offensive production, the Guardians have really struggled hitting Yankee pitching in recent gatherings. Cleveland's averaging only 2.8 runs a game in their last 10 contests against New York. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. When it comes to the pitching, Garrett Cole takes the mound for the Bombers here tonight. He's 2-0 already with 19 strikeouts and a .73 ERA. Now, out of 12-plus innings of work this year, Cole has a whip of just .89. And that really should come as no surprise. This Yankee pitching staff leads the majors in strikeouts per 9. Now, total-wise, New York's going 60% to the under for the whole year. They also saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Cleveland stay under the line as well. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Give the Yankees -175, under 8. Next game, Astros-Pirates, 6:35 East. Houston's the $1.70 favorite, totals 8 runs. Christian Javier for Houston, Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. Now, Keller's got an ERA in the 3s, along with 15 strikeouts in just 11 2/3 innings of work. Meanwhile, as a team, the Pirates got the W in 5 out of their last 7. They scored 4 runs or more in all but 2 of those contests. Brian Reynolds is hitting .366 with 5 homers and 14 runs batted in. Meanwhile, Andrew McCutchen's batting .333 with an OPS in the thousands. Now, they're facing a Houston club who lost 5 out of their last 8. They allowed a whole bunch of runs in the process. When it comes to offensive production, the Astros hitters strike out more times a game than most clubs in the American League. Now, injury-wise, Brantley and Altuve are still out for Houston. O'Neal Cruz had surgery yesterday on his ankle for Pittsburgh. Now, total-wise, 5 out of Pittsburgh's last 9 did stay under the line. Meanwhile, 6 out of Keller's last 7 starts stayed under the total as well. Of course, that dates back to last season. Give me Pittsburgh +1.5, under 8. Next matchup, it is going to be the A's at the O's, 6:35 Camden Yards. Baltimore's -195, totals 8 and a hook. Grayson Rodriguez for Baltimore, Kyle Muller for Oakland. And even though Muller's looked good, Oakland's having all kinds of problems at the dish. These guys are averaging fewer hits a game than any other club in the league except for one. And no real surprise here, guys. Oakland's currently in the bottom 3 in run production. Now they're going up against Grayson Rodriguez here today, who looked pretty good in his debut. He actually allowed just 2 runs in 5 innings of work, and I did strike out 5 batters, so averaged just about a strikeout an inning there. Now this Baltimore pitching staff as a whole, they're walking fewer batters per 9 than most clubs in the league. When it comes to the injury report, Seth Brown and Manny Pena are still inactive for Oakland. Now, total-wise, the A's saw 7 out of their last 10 get over. Meanwhile, Baltimore went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Orioles, -1.5, over 8.5. Next matchup, little AL East action. I'm talking about the Red Sox at the Rays, 640 Tropicana Field. Tampa Bay's -180, total 7.5. Shane McClanahan for Tampa Bay, Garrett Whitlock for Boston. Now, the Red Sox took the loss in 4 out of their last 7. Their pitchers have given up a whole bunch of hits. They're allowing nearly double-digit hits per contest. They're also in the bottom 10 in runs allowed. Now they're facing an undefeated Tampa squad on the other side of things, who scores more runs a game than any other club in baseball. No real surprise there. Randy Arozarena, he's hitting .359 with a couple of bombs and 11 runs batted in. Meanwhile, Wander Franco, he's hitting .317 with an OPS in the thousands. And if for some reason the bats end up going cold here today for the Rays, well, they're in good hands with Shane McClanahan. He's already 2-0 on the year with a 1.50 ERA. Now, injury-wise, Duvall and Mondesi are still out for Boston. When it comes to the total, the Bo Sox are 60% to the over for the entire year. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay went 7-3 to the over in their last 10. Give me the Rays -180, over 7.5. Next contest, little NL East action. I'm talking about the Marlins at the Phillies, 640 Citizens Bank Park. Philadelphia's -155, total 7.5 runs. Aaron Nola for the Titans, Jesus Luzardo for Miami. And out of 12 2/3 innings this season, Luzardo struck out 15 batters and he allowed only 1 earned run. He officially has an ERA of .71 along with a .94 whip. And despite a shit show last night, excuse my language, I don't know why I said that, but despite a bad outing last night, well, this Miami pitching staff, they're still in the top 5 in fewest hits allowed. Now they're facing a Philly lineup on the other side who's striking out more times a game at the dish than any other club in the league except for one. And no real surprise here, guys. The Titans are in the bottom 5 in runs per game. Now, pitching-wise, Aaron Nola, he has an ERA in the 7s after 2 starts this year already. When it comes to the injury list, Harper and Hall are still on the IL. Now, total-wise, 4 out of Philly's last 5 fell under the number, throwing out last night's massacre. Meanwhile, the Phils are also, they saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with the Marlins stay under the total as well. Now, Jesus Luzardo, he saw both of his starts this year fall under the total. Give me Miami +1.5, under 7.5. All right, next matchup, it is going to be the Tigers at the Blue Jays, and that's going to be a 7:07 Eastern start time. Toronto's the $2.80 favorite. Totals 9 runs. Alek Manoah for Toronto. Matt Manning for Detroit. Now, the Tigers are on a 4-game skid, and they lost all but 2 of their games this year. This Detroit lineup, they're actually getting fewer hits per contest than any other team in the majors except for one. And they're also averaging double-digit strikeouts at the dish. That's certainly not good. Struggling making contact, struggling getting base runners all around, just more of the same from last season. They couldn't hit last year. Actually, my go-to saying last year for Detroit, if you guys don't remember, is Detroit, they can't hit for shit. But anyway, they're facing a Toronto team who has little issue getting base runners. These guys are in the top 3 in hits per 9. Matt Chapman, he's hitting .475 with 14 ribbies and 32 total bases. Chapman's actually second in the league in batting average, RBI, and OPS. Meanwhile, Vlad Guerrero, he's hitting .439 with an OPS in the thousands. Total-wise, Toronto's 60% to the over for the entire year. Detroit saw 6 out of their last 9 get over the line. Give me the Blue Jays -1.5, over 9. Next game, Padres-Mets, 7:10 Eastern start time. The New York Mets are minus 140, totals 9. David Peterson for New York, Ryan Weathers for San Diego. Now, Weathers allowed just 2 runs in 5 innings of work in his season debut. Meanwhile, as a team, the Pods won 3 out of their last 4. They averaged over 6 runs a game in those victories. Xander Bogaerts, he's hitting .325 with an OPS in the thousands. Meanwhile, Todd Grisham, he has 3 homers and 20 total bases. Now they're facing David Peterson, who has an ERA in the 6s after a couple of starts, along with a .211 whip. When it comes to offensive production, the Mets are in the bottom 3 in hits. Now, injury-wise, Starling Marte is questionable for the Mets. When it comes to the total, 5 out of New York's last 7 did get over the number. They also allowed over 5 runs a game on average in their last 10 meetings with San Diego. Give me the Padres plus 1.5 over 9. Next contest, it is going to be the Reds at the Braves, 720 Truist Park. Atlanta's the $2.30 favorite, totals 9 runs. Kyle Wright for Atlanta, Luis Cessa for Cincinnati. Now, the Reds lost 4 out of their last 5. And they've struggled a bit at the plate. They're averaging fewer hits a game than most clubs in the National League. They're facing an Atlanta team on the other side who's led by Orlando Arcia, who's batting a team-best .341 at the plate. Meanwhile, Matt Olson has 3 homers, 11 ribbies, and a 1.128 OPS. On top of pounding the baseball, these Atlanta hitters are nearly in the top 5 in walks per 9. Now, injury-wise, Michael Harris is still on the IL for Atlanta. Joey Votto still out for Cincinnati. When it comes to the numbers, since he saw 2 out of their last 4 road games stay under the total. Meanwhile, Atlanta went 4-3 to the under in their last 7. Give me the Braves minus 1.5 under 9. Next ball game, White Sox at the Twins. And that'll be a 7:40 Eastern first pitch. Minnesota's minus 150 at home, totals 8 runs. Pablo Lopez for Minnesota, Lance Lynn for Chicago. Now, Lynn's allowed 10 earned runs and 4 homers in just 10 innings of work. And no real surprise here, guys. This Chicago pitching staff's in the bottom 3 in runs allowed per game. Now, they're facing a Twins lineup who strikes out fewer times a game than most clubs in the AL. And pitching-wise, well, Minnesota's allowing just 6 hits a game thus far. Pablo Lopez, he has a .73 ERA through 2 starts already. And out of 16 in the 3rd innings of work, Lopez has recorded 16 punch-outs. Now, injury-wise, Correa is questionable. Polanco and Kepler are still out. Meanwhile, for the Sox, Timmy Anderson is questionable with a knee. Keep an eye on him. And when it comes to the scoring, Chicago saw 6 of 8 road games this year get over the total. And they're also 9-2 to the over for the entire season at any location. Give me the Twins minus 150 over 8. Next contest, it is going to be Mariners at the Cubs, 7:40 Eastern first pitch. Seattle's minus $1.20 at Wrigley, totals 10.5. Hayden Wesneski for Chicago, Chris Flexen for Seattle. Now, the Mariners lost 7 out of their last 10. They are having some problems at the plate. They're actually fanning more times a game than most clubs in the American League. And in addition to that, they're also in the bottom 10 in walks per 9 at the dish. Now, they're facing a Chicago pitching staff who's been pretty good in the early going here. They're actually striking out double-digit batters a game right now. When it comes to offensive production, this might be one of the strongest lineups in the NL Central, at least for right now. Patrick Wisdom, he has 3 homers and an OPS close to 1,000. Meanwhile, Horner, Swanson, Happ, and Hosmer, they're all batting in the 300s right now. So a lot of good things happening with this Chicago lineup. Now, injury-wise, Suzuki's still out for the Cubs. Moore and Trammell's still out for the M's. When it comes to the numbers, Seattle's 7-4 to the over for the entire year. Meanwhile, Chicago saw 5 out of their last 7 get over the number themselves. Give me the Cubs plus $1 over 10.5. Next ball game, Royals-Rangers, 8:05 East. Texas is minus 280 at home, totals 8 runs. Jacob deGrom for Texas, Jordan Lyles for Kansas City. And out of a couple starts this year, Lyles is 0-2 already with an ERA very close to 5. And even if Lyles throws well, the Royals are currently dead last in the majors in hits. They're facing Jacob deGrom and a Texas pitching staff who's amongst the league leaders in strikeouts. When it comes to offensive production, this is one of the higher scoring teams in the American League right now. Corey Seager's hitting .324, and he's walked 8 times already. And in Texas's last 10 head-to-head meetings with Kansas City, they've averaged nearly 6.5 runs a game. Now, injury-wise, Taveras and Garver are on the IL for Texas. Waters and Hernandez, they're out for KC. When it comes to the number, I'm not sure Kansas City is going to be able to help put this one over. The Royals are also 4-3 to the under in their last 7. No real surprise there. Give me Texas -1.5, under 8. Next game, it is going to be Cardinals at the Rockies, 840 Coors Field. St. Louis is -165 on the road, totals 12. Miles Mikolas for St. Louis, Kyle Freeland for Colorado. Now, Freeland's yet to allow a run yet this year in 12-plus innings. The lefty officially has a whip of just .78. When it comes to offensive production, Colorado is one of the best hitting teams in the National League right now. Ellie Montero, he's hitting .333 with a strong OPS. Meanwhile, Charlie Blackmon and Elias Diaz, they're hitting in the 300s. Now, they're facing a pitcher who's allowed 10 earned runs in just 9-plus innings. He officially has an ERA of .964. That's Miles Mikolas, of course. And when it comes to offensive production, the Cards are in the bottom 5 in runs per game. Now, injury-wise, DeYoung and Nootbaar are out for St. Louis. Grichuk and Rogers are still out for Colorado. When it comes to the number, Colorado's last 4 straight all got over the total. Overs against the likes of Washington and this very St. Louis team. Give me Colorado +1.5, over 12. Next contest, Nats Angels 938 East. LA's -$3, totals 8.5. Shohei Ohtani on the bump for Los Angeles. Josiah Gray for Washington. Now, Gray's 0-2 through a couple of starts. And he has an ERA very close to 5. And even if he has a good outing here today, this Nats lineup is in the bottom 10 in run production offensively. Now, they're facing Shohei Ohtani, who struck out 18 in just a dozen innings. Sho's currently got himself an ERA of just .75. And even if Sho has a bad outing, this Angel team is they're a top 3 scoring club right now. Mike Trout is hitting .306 with an OPS in the thousands. Meanwhile, Gio Urshela is hitting .351. When it comes to the injury list, Rendon is questionable. Stassi and Walsh are still out. Meanwhile, for the Nats, Dickerson, Keyboon, and Pineda, they're out for them. When it comes to the total, Washington's 4-1 at the over in their last 5 road games. Meanwhile, the Angels are 70% to the over for the entire year. Give me the Angels -1.5, over 8.5 runs. Next game, Brewers, Diamondbacks, 9:40 Eastern first pitch. Milwaukee's -$130 on the road, totals 8.5. Corbin Burns for Milwaukee, Merrill Kelly for Arizona. Now, Kelly comes into today's matchup with an ERA in the 3s. Meanwhile, as a team, the D-backs are on a 4-game winning streak, and they rank in the top 10 in hits. They're facing Corbin Burns, who's allowed 10 earned runs in just 9-plus innings. And even if Burns pitches well, these Brewer hitters are having a tough time making contact. They're in the bottom 5 in strikeouts at the plate. Now, injury-wise, Urias and Taylor are on the IL for Milwaukee. Carson, Kelly, and Kyle Lewis are out for Arizona. When it comes to the number, Arizona saw 3 out of their last 5 at Chase Field get over the total. They're also 7-4 to the over for the entire season. Give me Arizona +$110, over 8.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be in the Dodgers-Giants game, 9:45 San Francisco. The LA Dodgers are -$160 on the road, totals 8.5. Dustin May for Los Angeles, Alex Wood for San Francisco. Now, Wood's in search of his first win of the season. The Giants as a team lost 5 out of their last 8, and they're striking out a league-worst 12 times a game. And speaking of offensive problems, the Giants have averaged just 2.7 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with LA. They're going to have to face Dustin May here today, who's allowed just 1 run in 13 innings. When it comes to offensive production, the Dodgers are scoring more runs a game than any other club except for one. Freddie Freeman's hitting .419 with an OPS in the thousands. Meanwhile, Will Smith has 11 RBI and an OPS of 1.155. Now, injury-wise, Perez, Hanninger, Slater, and Gonzalez, they are all still out for San Fran. When it comes to the total, the Giants are 6-3 to the over in their last 9. Meanwhile, the Dodgers saw their last 4 straight get over the total themselves. Give me the Dodgers minus 160 over 8.5. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. New York Yankees minus 175 under 8 runs. Pittsburgh plus 1.5 under 8. I'm 16-1 on my last 17 crowd pleaser teasers on my website. And if you want to see a video breakdown of every single one of my personal sports bets today, games that I personally have my own action on, there's only one way you can do that, and that's to sign up for my board member package on my website. Once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Give me Baltimore minus 1.5 over 8 and a hook. Tampa Bay minus 180 over 7.5 runs. Miami Marlins plus 1.5 under 7.5 runs. Toronto Blue Jays minus 1.5 over 9. San Diego plus 1.5 over 9 runs. Atlanta Braves minus 1.5 under 9. Minnesota minus 150 over 8. Chicago Cubs plus $1 over 10.5. Texas Rangers minus 1.5 under 8 runs. Colorado plus 1.5 over 12. LA Angels minus 1.5 over 8 and a hook. Arizona plus $1.10 over 8.5. With my next and final pick for the video, give me the Dodgers minus 160 over 8.5 runs.